Welcome to Your Health, where we explore the latest in health across the country. I'm Erica Cardenas. It's National Nutrition Month, so we're exploring the important role nutrition plays in our health. But first, let's take a look at what's coming up on the show. The latest food trends and what really is good for you. We'll talk to an expert about navigating the changes associated with menopause and the importance of a colonoscopy. All that and more on this episode of Your Health. It seems every day there's a new fad or trend on what to eat to stay healthy. We get expert advice on the latest trends and what really works.
I'm Dr. Emily Pocha. I'm a naturopathic doctor and I own Wildcraft Medicine in La Jolla, California. There's a lot of fads that have come up in nutrition and diet in the health world that have brought up to my attention through patients and just in news today. And I want to explore some of those with you. One of the first ones that comes up quite a bit in my office is bulletproof coffee. And this is the idea of adding some sort of fat to your coffee, typically butter or something called MCT oil, as a way to kind of start your day. I have had patients tell me that it's been really helpful for them to sustain their blood sugar and their focus. Butter in particularly is very high in something called butyric acid. It's one of the only food sources of butyric acid, which is a short chain fatty acid, and one of the things that feeds the cells of the colon, which is deep-rooted in the gut. And in order to have a healthy gut, we want to have a healthy microbiome. So all those bacteria that live there, we want to have a good amount of number, but also diversity. And those short-chain fatty acids help to actually feed that diversity in number. So that's one way that butter can be healthy. It's always important when you're choosing things like that to use options that like organic grass-fed butter so that you know that the toxic profile of it is low. Protein in plant-based meat versus animal-based meat has been a topic for discussion for quite a while. And again, it really just depends on the individual. Plant-based options can be great for people that have high cholesterol, are trying to reduce some of their inflammation in their body, people that have cancer and arthritis and other inflammatory type diseases. However, it's really important to make sure that the quality that you're taking in and eating is as clean as it possibly can be. So the issue becomes with plant-based alternative meats is that they tend to be processed. Some of them are made from soy that's genetically modified, and those cause a lot of issues within our own genetics and our ability to metabolize them. They often are sprayed quite a bit with different herbicides and pesticides like glyphosate, which itself is a neurotoxin and can create a lot of issues neurologically for us, as well as damaging the gut lining. So these alternative options that may seem really healthy because there's no meat or saturated fats have their own set of issues that you want to make sure that you're really addressing and looking at when you read the labels. It's really important to make sure that no matter what you're eating, that you're getting a variety of different foods, that you're eating whole, clean foods, so organic, grass-fed, wild-caught as much as you possibly can, drinking plenty of water, and also eating that regular protein and healthy fats to help stabilize your blood sugar. Picking those healthy options, but also just enjoying your life and not creating such a stress about it can kind of bring a little bit more relaxed energy around eating and bring the joy back.
If you're a woman, then going through menopause is something you'll experience at some point in your life. So joining me now is Dr. Sharon Thompson to help walk us through that change. Welcome, doctor.
Thank you.
First off, what is menopause?
So menopause is a transition similar to puberty. So we all are familiar with puberty when your body starts to change and develop, and girls will develop periods and boys will develop. Menopause is the tail end of that for women. So the ovaries that started their hormonal production at puberty are finishing their hormonal production. Now, there's no switch. So there's no on or off. I know many women wish there was one. And so we can't tell you exactly the day you will have menopause. It's a transition, it's a phase.
Now, what are some of the symptoms that women will have to know that they're going through menopause?
It will surprise most women to learn none. So most women, the vast majority of women, have no problems through menopause at all. They were having periods monthly, those periods stop, and that is it.
And it really can happen to any age, right? Women at any age.
The average age of menopause is 51.
Okay.
And that an average means that there will be some women who go through menopause as early as age 40 would be a normal menopause, and some women who go all the way till age 60 having periods. And so the bulk of women will be around that 51, 50, 52 age, but definitely you see some women on the outsides of those.
Now, what about medications? Are there some medications that you might recommend to help with symptoms of menopause?
So when women are symptomatic, and those symptoms can be hot flashes, some women will find that their concentration or focus will change. Some women have insomnia, they have a hard time sleeping. Some women will see a change in their metabolism, so their weight will start to change. It might go up, or they may start an exercise program, not see any change in their weight at all. So you start seeing differences in your metabolism. And some of those women won't need anything at all because they feel it, you know, they have a hot flash here or there, or they start just getting really hot all the time, and it doesn't bother them. But if it's disrupting your life, if you can't get through your day at work, if you're tired all day because you're up all night, that's where medications come in. And there are two big groups of medications that women will use. One is the estrogens. Estrogens are by far the best medication for treating those kinds of symptoms around menopause. But surprisingly, the medicines that were developed for depression, a class of medicine called selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors, SSRIs, also work well in low doses for hot flashes or menopausal symptoms.
Now, what about some non-hormonal options? What can women do in that area to minimize symptoms?
It's a great question. So the SSRIs are non-hormonal, right? And so that's a great option for women who can't or don't want to take hormones. Other things are lifestyle changes, and we always recommend lifestyle changes first. So, you know, if you live with someone else, make them freezing at night so you'll be warmer. Dress in layers so you can take stuff off. I saw someone just yesterday, she had a small little mini fan that you stick in the back of your iPhone to power it. I thought this thing was ingenious.
Yeah, I think we all need one of those.
So exactly, and living in Arizona, yes, we do. And so you can do lifestyle changes like that. Now, there are a lot of herbal remedies that people will talk about as being helpful, and the studies and the data on those is a little less certain. So some women will definitely get benefit from a black cohosh or soy-based products, etc. But the vast majority of women won't see enough benefit from those.
Okay, good to know. Now, doctor, what is the difference between perimenopause and menopause?
I mentioned menopause is not an on-off, it's a phase. So any woman who is having symptoms, maybe some menstrual irregularities, hot flashes, some of that insomnia that I mentioned, but she's still having periods at some point, she is perimenopausal. Interestingly, the diagnosis for menopause can only be made backwards. So the definition is 1 year of no periods is menopause. You can't make it forwards because things can be so irregular, they can be so up in the air.
Okay. Now, doctor, share with us how menopause affects heart health.
I love that you brought up the issue of heart health because this is something I want to put on every woman's radar. Women are at risk for heart disease just as men are at risk for heart disease. We often think about heart attacks as a male disease. In fact, since 1984, more women have died of heart disease than men. So this is a woman's disease. And in fact, we think of menopause as the transition, but we should think of heart health our entire adult lives. Some women who have certain complications in pregnancy are at higher risk for heart disease. Now, when you're pregnant, you're not thinking about heart disease, but we should, because pregnancy can impact your heart function later in life. So it's not menopause per se, but just getting older that affects heart disease. And heart disease should be something that we're all thinking about throughout our lifespan. Numbers like your blood cholesterol are helpful and important when it comes to heart disease. Your blood pressure, those are things that we should be thinking about because they impact heart disease. Like I said, your pregnancies and complications that you might have had, critical for women to know and to talk to their doctors about because that will impact your risk of heart disease.
Do you have any final takeaways for women about menopause?
Two things I would say. I get a lot of folks who come to me and say, please check my hormones. And I have to tell them, unfortunately, because things are in flux at the perimenopausal phase, hormones don't help us. Because on any given day, your hormones may be up, they may be down, they may be normal. And so unfortunately, you can't get that satisfaction of a lab test because they just are not helpful. So that's one. And the second one is that, most women have no problems. So menopause is not something to fear because most women go through it just fine and they have no complaints whatsoever.
Well, very important and valuable information, Doctor. Thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you for having me.
One easy nutritional tip is to fill up on fiber. Studies show eating fiber-rich foods can help you lose weight and keep it off. It's as easy as adding beans to your salad or eating oats for breakfast. Here's what's coming up on the show. The reasons why a colonoscopy should be on your priority list, and an assisted living home that puts the emphasis on home. It can be overwhelming and even a little intimidating to select an assisted living care facility, but at Peaceful and Comfort Assisted Living, they make it easy.
When we walked in here, it was totally calm, nice. They've just been wonderful with us. The one time that really impressed me was the day that we moved her in here. Abel was waiting at the door for her when the ambulance arrived.
And it's been above and beyond as far as we're concerned since she got here because they're just great.
My name is Abel Van Negro. I'm owner of Peaceful and Comfort Assisted Living Home. As far as the residents care, we can only carry up to 10 residents. And it's like having your apartment, but with the care. I actually started around 10 to 12 years of age taking care of my uncle. He was diagnosed with lung cancer by himself. There was no such thing as assisted living back then. As far as me and my partner Lupita Sencio, we collaborated and we decided, having so many years doing this as nursing homes, hospice care, we decided to see if we could open something up that would cover all the bases beneficially for not only for ourselves, but for the residents, for the community that are in search of this type of care.
We went to a number of facilities. We had referrals from the hospital staff. We had referrals from friends, relatives, and we did visit the bigger places and the smaller places. We were kind of particular, and we wanted to make sure that it felt right, it looked good, and that the people were honest and caring.
When we walked in here, first of all, it did not smell. It's the cleanest place in town. Communication was great. They are bilingual, and she, who was extremely hard of hearing, could understand them. So communication was okay. Even throughout the day, I could text or call Abel, and he would return either the text or the call immediately, which gave me comfort that he would let me know if there was a problem.
We do have 7 employees. They're directed caregivers. Each and every one of them has to be certified through the state. Each and every one of them still has to have training throughout the month. Each and every one of them have to have a background check and a fingerprint card check. We do have 24-hour day-to-wake staff at night. We're able to do laundry services, housekeeping services. We're also bilingual, so we can take care of those situations as far as communication. We do the assessment plan. Families can come here. They can, we can set a date and time. They can come and visit our facility. We also have references. They can look through Department of Health surveys when they do want to place a loved one here.
The importance of getting a colonoscopy can't be understated, and the doctors at Honor Health tell us why.
My name is Jose Machine. I'm one of the board-certified gastroenterologists here with Honor Health. First decided in gastroenterology back in med school. Since then, I've been fascinated by the study in gastroenterology. I was fortunate enough to move on and get a training at Creighton University. Since then, I've been passionate about helping my patients with their GI diseases. Colon cancer, basically, it's a malignant growth that occurs in the large intestine. People over 50, the chance of getting colon cancer goes higher. Obviously, it can happen at younger age if you have family members with colon cancer or other certain conditions in the GI tract. Colon cancer can affect your everyday life. If you don't diagnose it in time, many patients will need to get chemotherapy, will need to get surgery as part of the treatment for it. So colon cancer prevention is very important. We have here at Honor Health many ways to offer preventive testing. There's stool-based tests, there's X-ray testing, there's actually direct visualization of the colon with the colonoscopy. So by doing one of these tests, you can prevent colon cancer. So many patients have certain myths or stigmas about the process of the colonoscopy. So first of all, colonoscopy, it's a procedure that we do very frequently. It's a very safe procedure. We use a flexible camera with a light to go throughout the rectum to survey the colon looking for these polyps. Most of the time we're only paying attention to the monitor and not at your behind. There's a lot of stories out there, to be honest. Every day we do a colonoscopy. We many times find colon polyps. These are removed. Every time we remove a polyp, there's association of less rate of colon cancer. That's why colonoscopy is very important. Colon cancer information is readily available. If you visit your primary care physician here at Honor Health, they'll be able to offer you different types and alternatives in terms of colon cancer screening.
One quick nutritional swap: switch water for those sweetened beverages and sports drinks. The added sugar, calories, and artificial coloring can lead to weight gain if consumed too much. So stick to water. Here's what's coming up next on the show: a center that has a unique approach to help people struggling with addiction, and how fast you eat can influence your weight. We'll tell you why. While in college, Scott felt lost and turned to addictive substances to help him cope. But with the help of Decision Point Center, he found his passion and his sobriety.
I was in college struggling with anxiety and depression because I didn't really know what I wanted to do when I grew up. Started drinking more and then found drugs, and pretty much that just made the anxiety and depression, get worse, even though at the time I thought it was better, but it was what I was used to. And I would just go back and forth like, oh, I want to stop doing drugs. Oh, I don't want to stop doing drugs. I woke up one morning and my mom was like, hey, someone's downstairs, they want to talk to you. And I go downstairs and there wasn't like an actual interventionist, but it was a bunch of my friends, some of my close friends, their parents. They pretty much reassured me that I did need help, and I was at a place where I was just so miserable about where I was. I was like, I do need a change. They were like, we want to send you this place in Arizona. You get to go hiking, do a bunch of cool outdoor stuff. And I'm just like, sounds great. When do I leave? I didn't necessarily think I would stay sober, actually. I was sort of like, all right, I'll go to this rehab for 30 days, just kind of throw a curveball in my life, mix it up. And then slowly I was able to come to terms with, hey, being sober is actually a really good thing. I was actually very pleased because it wasn't like very institutional, hospital-y. It was almost like I was going to Colorado and staying at like a condo. Like, it was actually really nice. I even joked with one of my friends that him and I both got sent to a mandatory summer camp. Just like, kids when they go to summer camp, they make friends. We kind of do the same thing at Decision Point. We're here, we might as well make the best of it. I felt I actually had a real big impression on a lot of the clients there because I showed them how much fun they could have, because they kind of came in like I did. They're like, oh, I'm in rehab. But I was able to show them the fun side. There's a lot more to life than just drugs and alcohol, especially with the outdoor program Decision Point has. It showed me how much fun it is just to be outside, taking in nature. I've always been a big wildlife nature person even before Decision Point. And then once a month you would go on a couple-day camping trip, whether that be just car camping where your car's right there, or like full-on backpacking out through the wilderness. Even now that I'm out, I thought rehab was great for me. Honestly, even if I didn't have a drug problem, I thought rehab would have been great because it taught me how to deal with stresses that you're gonna come across in your life. Now, almost 9 years after my sobriety date, I'm working as a large predator handler at a wildlife park. That's one thing that's really helping me stay sober, along with the tools Decision Point taught me, just because those animals mean the world to me, and it really is a dream job. Thanks to Decision Point, I have almost 9 years of sobriety.
Don't go away, we have more coming up on Your Health. We'll tell you what you should do before you grocery shop to stay healthy. Nutrition can impact your overall health in so many ways. Before we go, here are a few more tips to keep in mind. First off, slow down. The pace you eat can influence how much you eat. Studies show faster eaters are more likely to be obese. It takes about 20 minutes for your brain to receive the hormone message that you're full, so slow down and enjoy your food. Shop smart. Studies show if you eat a healthy meal before you grocery shop, you'll make healthier choices. And always bring a list and stick to it. We've all heard it, cut back on refined carbs. White flour, pasta, and bread are low in fiber and digest quickly, so you're hungry more often. Instead, choose complex carbs like oats, grains, and veggies. Finally, snack smart. Bring pre-portioned mixed nuts with you for the day, so when you get hungry, you're not tempted to reach for those unhealthy items. Thank you for joining us on Your Health. I'm Erica Cardenas. See you next time.